peace, and abundance. Got your beverage, your water, your tea, your coffee, your juice. What you drinking? It's funny because right before I hit record, I got a ringing in my ear. And I got a ringing in my ear after somebody said to me, action. Divine alignment is something that is very real. And there's so much that is in me to be expressed. I'm going to do my best to allow it to channel and come out. And I will that this volume, can be heard and received clearly. I just turned the volume up on my side, but, I want to respect the volume of the home because of the time that I'm recording this. But there's much that I can say. And I feel like I'm going to attune to different frequencies. So I'm going to start here. I was in a period of hibernation for a couple of years. And this period of hibernation came after I responded to and followed several omens, several breadcrumbs that I was being presented with. And at the time, I didn't understand the magnitude of what it was that I was seeing and what I was responding to. However, I knew that it was divine. So I was led into this hibernation, this isolation, this unraveling, this quiet chamber of investigation, it was a deep dive. It was a deep dive. I was saying one of my poems, during my time of hibernation, I've been deep diving, revealing, healing from wounds and scars that remain underpilling, right? And it was more to it, right? So because I listened and I went into the isolation, I went into the separation, into the isolation, the hibernation, I did not fight it. It put me in a position to where I was able to shed the old, right? Things that had been placed on me, illusions that I had accepted as the truth, the guard and the protection that I had up so that I didn't see the truth for what it really was. And I was able to move forward until I was able to see the truth. So I got to a place where I was ready to see the truth for what it really was, what it really is. And in me doing that, it allowed for me to remember the essence of who I am. And I was able to remember the things that I experienced along my journey that bear witness to the clarity that I now have as to who I am and what my purpose is, right? And when I was going through that hibernation, I was experiencing quite a bit of living the principles and living the understanding that I have of how, like a system or a rhythm on how to live this life and operate in this world to where we would be successful in being aligned with our divine purpose and being connected to the divine source, whatever you choose to call them. Call him, call her, call it. Everybody is different, but just stick with me with the rhythm of the universality of what I'm saying, right? So I knew that once I came out on the other end, even though I didn't know what the other end was going to look like exactly, right? I knew that whatever was on the other side, that I was going to be sharing what I received and what I experienced with the intention that it would assist someone else, even if it sparked or activated in them what their unique, special, elevated understanding is, or something in them to give them more strength and motivation, inspiration, and drive and determination and strength, and foresight to be able to keep moving wherever they were on their journey. However, it would resonate with people. I just knew that I was going to share it. So, what I was doing was I was recording in real time the things that I was experiencing, that I was like either overjoyed about because of the unfolding of it, or it was or it was something that I was having a challenge with, right? I was having a challenge with because it was the old that was like brushing up against the new. And then it was like challenging myself to get rid of like the uncomfortability of stepping outside of the box, right? So I did these recordings. I made these recordings, and they're like all voice recordings. They don't have video to them. They're all voice recordings. And because I am where I am on my journey now, I can look back and see the value. I can see the value of what it was that I was recording, right? And how it can assist other people. So that was coming up as my starting point, because tonight I experienced another one of those moments where I would have recorded the voice and it would be in my archive, right? It would just be in my archive because I got an archive of recordings. But tonight it resonated for me to come on live and share it in real time. And I'm gonna speak to this. I'm gonna get back to that, but I'm gonna speak to this, right? You always know when you're on the right track or you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, whether it makes sense to you or not, because there's always a reaction to you moving forward in whatever it is that you're doing. And it comes up real subtle sometimes, and it comes up in a way that if you allow it, you'll take it personal, and then you take it in personal, you'll step out of the frequency that you was in, and you lower your frequency, and then you like delay or throw yourself off of, or allow yourself to be taken off the course that you was on, right? So the comments that I'm seeing, I don't know if everybody can see the comments. However, the comments that I'm seeing, I don't know if I can see all of them, but I can see certain comments, right? And some of them are of a lower frequency, right? And if I wasn't solidified in why I'm doing what I'm doing, it would affect my frequency. It would affect my ability to continue to share what I'm sharing. And for somebody else, something like that might work. You know what I'm saying? It might work to throw them off. However, we're in a time where no matter what it is that you think, you see, you feel, you believe in your heart, in your bones, like you gotta know that regardless of what anybody else thinks, says, feels, or believe, right? You gotta stand on that regardless of what the physical is showing you, because the breaking part of the busting past a barrier that we have in our mind in order to see all of what's available, right? I mean, this is true. Excuse me. Um, the show of life, you said that sometimes fate takes you to different journeys. That's true. And it's funny because I was thinking about this earlier today, right? Like, it's really a matter of the choices that we make, right? Yes, there's some circumstances that we're born into, right? There are some circumstances outside of our control that we're born into. However, we already agreed to come into those circumstances for a specific reason. And if we can adjust our thinking to see, to look for, to pursue the understanding of why those circumstances was permitted, to see what was in it for us, what we gained, then we can shift, right? And we put ourselves on a different timeline. However, aside from those circumstances, we experience the result of our decisions, right? And our decisions place us on different timelines. And I was thinking about that for myself today. And I was thinking about how, you know, there's some decisions that I made, right, at a period of time where there was like a fork in the road. There was two different things that I could have done, and maybe even three in some situations. But I chose the one that I chose. And at the time, I was operating based on a rhythm that I felt like that was the best choice or the best option, or that energetically was the one that I was supposed to do, or it was the one that was most aligned, however it resonated in the moment. But I made the choice. And as a result of that choice, then I lived out that experience. Now, it's not to say that if I would have made a different choice, I would have had a different experience. That like we could get real caught up with that. However, what I do know is, had I made a different choice, I would have experienced the same principle. The expression of it could have been different, it could have been different. However, the essence of what I needed to gain and learn was always going to be what it is and what it was. So when we choose to see those experiences from a higher vibration, then we start to be able to extract the purpose of it, what it added to us, what it benefited from us. And that alone starts to elevate our vibration, our frequency, which then starts to attract things of a higher frequency. And the more we do that, and the more deeper we go, the more we come into the remembrance of who we are and what we came here for. And again, everybody is different. What I'm sharing may not resonate with you. And that's cool, right? Because it's not going to resonate with everybody. But I know that I lived it and I'm living it. So I know somebody else is going to resonate with it, because I'm not just this singular being. I'm connected to the whole. So somebody else is going to resonate. But if it doesn't resonate with you, I get it, because we're all on different timelines. We're all at different frequencies. We're all here for different purposes. So that's cool. However, like I was saying, I was being called to share because I was having a moment tonight, right? So instead of me recording it, I'm here in real time to record it. So what I was experiencing tonight was a remembrance of the things that I was doing that was grounding the vision, right? So part of this is we are co-creating, right? We are co-creating our reality, our future, our life here. So at some point we realized that, okay, if my decision created this experience, and I understand why I made the decision, and it was something in my thoughts, and then I understand the base of my thoughts, and I elevate the base of my thoughts, then I start to make better decisions from a higher frequency. And once those decisions are made and I see those results, and oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I definitely want to attract my tribe. So I appreciate that encouragement. So once we realize that our thoughts actually do have an impact on our physical reality, then naturally we start to shift, right? Something in us starts to shift. We start to test it out. We start to do different things to see if what you're experiencing is true or if you're tripping, right? And everybody's expression is different, but you start to test it out in one expression or another, and then you start to see, in fact, you do have some say, you do have some influence, you do, however you process it. Some people say they co-create, some people say they manifest, some people say that they set intentions and they can actually, cause those intentions to come into the physical. Some people say they pray, they have a connection to the Most High. It's all, some people say they speak with their spirit team, they work with their ancestors. Everybody is different. So whatever your expression is, you get to the point where you realize that that's a real thing. So you start to move as such. It starts small, then it evolves and it becomes big. And you get to a point where you're able to look back and see that the things that you were doing, they actually worked, right? And I've had an experience tonight where I was able to see from a higher perspective the steps that I was taking, and how in fact they were planting seeds, and how in fact I was building a structure, a skeleton, if you will. And every time I have this thing where I understand that things are happening in a circular motion going up. I think the word is cyclical motion going up. And as it's going up, it's like it feels like we're experiencing the same thing, but we're not, right? It's the principle or the rhythm of it, the frequency of it, but it's not the literal thing, right? Because you're going through a rhythm, but you're understanding it from a higher perspective because you gained something from the last time. So you're not on the same level because you're not gaining anything, like how people say you're going in circles, right? You're chasing your tail. That's like because you haven't learned anything, you haven't elevated in your thinking. But when you learn something, you no longer go in circles. You actually elevate. So you go up on a spiral. So it feels the same, but it's not the same. And when you recognize that, you give yourself grace, right? You give yourself grace and you have patience, and you start to like understand that there's more happening than what you understand is happening. So you continue to like, okay, you begin to be curious, right? You have an investigative eye about what's happening in your world instead of taking it personal and immediately going to the negative. You raise your frequency, you raise your vibration by expanding your thought on what it is that's taking place in your reality. And because you're doing that, it's a natural universal response for the energy to respond to you, because we're all energy. Our thoughts are energy, right? Energy directed. Whatever we think on, we're directing the energy. So because we're elevating, because we're changing our thoughts, and because our frequency is also elevating and expanding, we're putting that energy out. So it's only a matter of time before that energy comes back in some shape, form, or fashion. So oftentimes that's like planting a seed, right? Like you putting the energy out, and you're waiting, but not like consciously like twiddling your thumbs waiting, but energetically you know that what you put out is going to come back. So you know something is coming. You just don't know what it is and what it's going to look like. So I realized I realized how that relates to where I am right now. And I had a conversation with my higher self where my present self was exploring where I'm at, and what resonates with me is actually taking place, even though I can't quite prove it with what I see with my physical eyes, right? But the resonance is there, the frequency is there. Some people say, they just feel it, right? They trust it, they believe it. They like God showed them something, right? Either in a dream or a vision or a tarot reading. It just depends on how how you connect to the universe, how you connect to the Most High. But because you have a level of anticipation, then that means it's real. Like if you could feel it, it's real. It just hasn't materialized in the 3D yet, because again, everything is energy. So if you could feel the energy, right, then it's real. It just has to manifest or ground into the 3D. And the things that we do, the steps that we take, you know, even if it's something small, that's why they say it's important to take baby steps, right? No matter what your goal is, what your vision is, what your passion is, what your long-term goal is, like you should be taking steps. And it don't got to be every single day, but it should have a level of consistency to where that consistency will add up and it amount to something, right? It's just like tending to a garden. The more you tend to the garden, the more you pull the weeds, the more you nurture the soil, make sure it has the nutrients that it needs, you water it, you make sure that the seeds have what it needs to root into the soil so that it could sprout. That's the same thing that we do spiritually. And then there's moments where you can literally feel the energy that it's about to sprout. And it reminds me of, I'm not all the way in the camera, I hope y'all don't mind, but it reminds me of when a woman is about to deliver, right? Like there's a moment as a mom, as a woman, that you realize you about to have this baby, right? Like, it's like you feel a pressure, you feel a surge, right? That you about to have this baby. And you start to push, you start to push. And if you're in flow, if you have surrendered, then you feel your body naturally, release to push. You feel it. And because you feel it, you know that it's real, right? So it's that same principle in the spiritual. And I had an experience tonight where I felt the energy. I felt the energy of a timeline merge. And I was able to go back, right? And understand why it's happening from the very conception of it in the 3D, right? I could see it. And even though I don't know the fullness of how it's going to unfold, I know that it's coming. And because I know that I'm having this experience, that means one or two things. Either there's others right now that's having the same experience, or it's about to be those having the experience after I put this out there, because I'm tuning in to the collective consciousness. I'm tapping into the universal stream, and this stream of consciousness, of awareness, of the energetic flow that's connected to the universal framework that is about to be accessible to others as well. So I'm trusting that what I shared makes sense and that it resonates. And again, what I share, like, it is a transmission, like a literal transmission. So it bypasses the mental a lot of times, and it goes straight to your emotional body, your energetic body, right? It connects at your heart chakra, your crown chakra, your third eye chakra, right? It resonates in your being as truth. And there's something in what I'm saying that connects to something in you, right? Like, it activates and it awakens and inspires something in you. And if you understand what I'm saying and it resonates for you, then I mean part of my tribe, 22 on the clock. So I trust that this vibration, this transmission is going to reach those that's aligned. I'm grateful for those that stop by, even the ones who are on lower frequency, because it bear witness that I was exactly where I was supposed to be, doing exactly what I was supposed to do. Because if I wasn't, it wouldn't even be no attention being directed to me. No energy wouldn't even be directed to me to try to throw me off or deter me or discourage me from living in my purpose. So I'm grateful for it all. I'm grateful for you. I'm so proud of you and where you are on your journey. And I know it was not easy, and you might still be in the thick of it. And I want you to know that there's value and there's power, and continue to put one foot in front of the other, even if tears are rolling down your eyes, even if you don't got no money in your pocket, even if you don't know what's gonna happen the next hour, let alone the next day. I want you to know that. Mommy. Yes. You still alive? Yes, I'm literally recording. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to sleep. Love you. I love you too. See you later. Late slime. Excuse me, my daughter. That you are exactly where you need to be, even when it doesn't feel like it. And that as long as you continue to put one foot in front of the other, you're going to get exactly where you're supposed to be. Because you're always where you're supposed to be, right? So just hold on. Just hold on. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Things will get better. Understanding is available, and it is going to come in clear to you when you're ready to receive the understanding. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you haven't already, offer an energetic exchange of a like, a comment, a share, or a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate your consideration of that. And if it resonates with you, if you could leave a heart or a sparkle, that will also be greatly appreciated. Until the next time, love, light, peace, and so much abundance.